Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Susan Lynn and I'm a psychic and a medium. And today I'm going to answer your questions, the questions that you put on my community page, which is my main Facebook page. You will see on a tabs, you will see a community tab. And I asked for questions that you have regarding the political situation we're in right now. And boy, did you give them to me. I have over 40 questions. Now, I'm not going to probably get to all 40 questions today, but what I'm going to do is just start with the most recent one and go down the list literally in real time. I haven't read these in advance, so you're going to see sort of how the sausage is made, right? You're going to see me skip over questions I've already answered. You're also going to see spirit come in to answer these questions. I communicate with my spirit guides directly, which means I don't use tarot cards or oracle cards to do this type of work. And I've already called in my spirit guides. I've already asked for a clear connection and clear information. You also have to understand that energy is always changing, right? It's always changing because I'm reading free will. I'm reading everyone's free will. And what I'm doing is taking a snapshot of their free will right now, with the exception of, very rarely, but it does happen, there are soul contracts. There are things that have already been decided, or there are situations that spirit feels that they have to get involved in the minute affairs of humans because we have basically tilted the balance too far and we're at risk of losing the whole thing. Now, losing the whole thing, really screwing up Earth, the planet Earth, to the degree that it's uninhabitable, or that the negative energy here on Earth is so much bigger than the positive energy, the balance is so far out of balance that it could cause, this is what I'm hearing right now as I'm speaking to you guys, okay? It could cause an energetic wobble in the earth. It could wobble the planet, and that would actually send centrifugal, much like you throw a stone in the water at a pond and you see those ripples, right? It goes out, 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 out. This is what would happen in our galaxy and our universe. The wobble would create ripples that would affect other planets and honestly other galaxies. They're showing me a wake, a water wake. When a big ship goes by, it's not terribly close to the shore, but here comes this wave that you really can't see until it meets something resistant, right? So it meets like a seawall or a lakeshore or even a boat, right? It meets something resistant and then you can see the action of that wave. Well, this is what they're talking about. In certain situations, they will get involved. I firmly believe, as do many people, many psychics and mediums believe, that President Biden was divinely guided to his position. We are human, even psychics. We can't see it all. We see glimpses. We see around the corner. We see more than most people, but we don't see it all. We're just not privy to that 360 degree or even 180 degree view, okay? So there's things happening beneath the surface as well that we don't know about. Maybe we're irritated that justice has taken so long. I'm certainly one of those people that finds myself, my human self, getting very irritated about that, okay? But I'm going to tell you in some cases that the spirit is putting their fingers on the scale to even it out. They really are. And one of those areas is the voting rights bill. If the voting right bill doesn't pass, America is going to fall into a morass. It's going to fall into almost a civil war-like energy, which has been supported by the astrologers, right? The revolutionary energy is now, our planets, when this country was formed, now match those in the same places, those planets in the same places in the sky during the Revolutionary War. So this is all supported. This is supported by all different kinds of divinations, whether it's astrology or psychic or even people channeling. So there are some situations where I think spirit's going to get involved, but that is really in absolute dire worst case scenario. For instance, with the two men that won the runoff in Georgia, the senators, spirit told me months before the election it was a done deal. I mean, I was chewing my fingernails off, everything. Spirit maintained the whole time, because this is one of those situations where they told me the Senate needed to be 50-50, because if we make the Senate 50-50, then humans really have a fair choice. They're interested to see what humans are going to do. They're not saving our butt just to be saving our butt. They're trying to balance the situation so that humans have a real choice, a real test. The test is fair. Okay? I can get into that later. You can ask me comments, whatever. I will be happy to answer them. But I'm going to go on and move on because we're 6 minutes into this. I might even edit all that out. Who knows? Okay. Emmy J says, thank you for your question, Emmy J. What are the chances that seniors will get more help than getting a raise and then having it taken back by an increase in Medicare premiums? It is absolutely infuriating. I understand it's infuriating. These things are going to change. They're going to change in about 3 years. Unfortunately, it's not going to change dramatically in a way that you're going to be hooray, hooray before 3 years. We're going to have some changes, some good wins, but in about 2 to 3 years, Medicare, Medicaid is going to be available for every citizen for very little money and free. And it's going to cover everybody. It's going to be an absolute coverage. There isn't going to be this BS of jumping through hoops for the Affordable Care Act, which you have to jump through all these hoops, especially if you're self-employed. And sometimes they don't even cover you. They don't give you any reason. It's very frustrating. It was better than nothing. I applaud Obama for doing it. But it was a settle. It was a compromise. And it was too much of a compromise. So here we find ourselves in the same position. So I feel that we are going to get across the board health care. It's not going to be perfect. It's not. And you're going to be able to buy health care. There's going to be tiers. You're going to be able to buy health care at whatever tier you want to spend that money. The private marketplace is always going to be there. The profit module is always going to be there. What's going to happen is these insurance companies are going to dump, the people who can't pay to the government, and the government's going to pay. But it is going to be better. The next question is from Texas Mike. Thank you, Texas Mike. I have, look, I'm going to tell y'all just what it is. It is what it is, okay? I don't tell you what you want to hear here. I don't. You guys, all I can do is tell you what Spirit tells me. If I don't honor what Spirit tells me, Spirit stops working with me. Okay? I have always seen Beto as a senator, as a United States senator, period, end of game. I've never seen him as a governor. I don't see him winning the governorship. I hope, like you can't even imagine, that I'm wrong. I hope Spirit's wrong. I hope some miracle happens. But I don't see it. I don't see it. He's not supposed to be governor of Texas. He's supposed to be a senator. But he has so much pressure on him. So much pressure to run for president. So much pressure to run for governor, right? He's not thinking strategically. He's letting these outside forces push him. And so he's doing what they suggest instead of doing what he knows he should do. So, unfortunately, I feel like he's spending a lot of capital that he has. He lost the president. He lost against Cruz. If he loses the governor, he's a 3-time loser, and that's really hard to come back from, right? So I think he's amazing. I'm a Beto supporter. I have donated to him. I've worked for him. I'm a supporter. I'm just telling you what Spirit's telling me. Again, they're not to be so. Look, you guys are political junkies. I get it. I am too, to a degree. And you're watching a psychic. So obviously you believe in other things. You believe in other forces, right? There are other forces at work here. Okay? Go back to what I just said about how, the universe, quote unquote, is trying to level the playing field. What are they trying to level the playing field with? Right? Why is it unlevel? Why do they need to make it level for humans to have a test? Right? Same thing is at work here. How did Lindsey Graham win? How did Mitch McConnell win? How did Ted Cruz win? How did these people win? When the exit polls say they shouldn't win, right? There's something else at work here. I don't think he's going to get the governor. And I think that, and I've done a video on this. Actually, now that I'm talking to you, I remember I did a video on this a while back, and I said this very same thing. and I said about how Texas is run by some other capitalistic and non-capitalistic entities, period. It's not fair, okay? It's not fair. It's run by these other foregone conclusions, is what they just said. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong. That doesn't mean Texas is going even worse than it was. It just means that change has to happen in a different way. Okay, Vila says, is there any truth to the CNN report or hit piece that some people are calling it, that the Vice President Harris is having trouble? She says, I do feel there is some trouble there. I feel like it's her team who are the ones who are unhappy. I want her out in front. I don't feel that whatever they feel is being done to VP Harris isn't being done directly by Biden himself, or that he is unaware of any grievances. Vila, here's the thing. I just did a video on this too, where I mentioned it in a video. Maybe it was with Jen on Jen's World Tarot on my channel that we do on Thursday nights. I picked it up about a week ago before this hit the news that there's some tension between Biden and Harris. Okay. But last night when I was on with Jen's World Tarot on my channel, on our show, I got the hit that there is tension, don't get me wrong, but I got a hit that the tension is around Harris worried about Biden, worried about his safety. Apparently there's actionable intel about Biden's safety. And Harris doesn't think he's taking it seriously enough. He still thinks he's the senator that travels back and forth on the train, right? He still thinks he's everyday's man, everybody's neighbor, right? He is the president. And this is a very volatile time in our history, right? So I think that she's upset with him about that. I think she thinks that he's taking unnecessary risk, is what they just said. I think they very much respect each other, and I think there's a lot of mutual fondness there, and I think that either one of them would do anything for the other. But there have been some disagreements, and that's normal. I don't know why VP Harris is not out in front more, other than I can tell you guys that the stuff that Biden, his administration is seeing right now would literally curl your toes as far as the intelligence goes. Okay? There's a lot going on. They're literally saving the day every day by blocking this attack or that from our homegrown American, I can't say too many words, but you know who I'm talking about. So so I think he's keeping her, I think he's trying to protect her. I think he's keeping her back a little bit to kind of protect her. Okay, so next thing, and thank you for your question, Vila. Next question is Laura Witt. Will Beto be victorious? The same thing. I just read on that. She says, what do I see for Ted Cruz? How interesting, right, that Ted Cruz and Holly and a lot of people are now hiding. Lindsey Graham, where's he been, right? McConnell, where's he been? They're letting these crazy people like Gosar take the center stage. Okay, right, if you want to stand out there and take the rap for all this, you go right ahead. But those other people are hiding. It's not going to help them. It is not going to help them. One of the good pieces of news that I can tell you is that in December, mid-December, maybe the 15th, maybe the 20th, somewhere around there, I'm asking them about Christmas, about the holiday of Christmas, that particular break. But anyway, around Christmas, around Hanukkah, around sometime in December, there's going to be a warrant roundup. There's going to be indictments flying. All these people are going to be like, here, take a ticket, take a seat, basically. You are indicted, go sit over there. You're indicted, go sit over there, right? So these people that are hiding are not safe. They're not safe. Just because you're staying out of the limelight does not mean you're safe. These other people, like Gosar, what that means is, that's what that means, right? Okay, I get it. They just said, those people that are hiding, this is for entertainment purposes only, okay? Those people, those senators and U.S. representatives that are hiding are guilty. They're guilty. They don't want to draw any more attention to themselves. They're guilty on some count, allegedly by me and my spirit guide. Those people like Gosar, they don't think there's anything on them. Now, I don't know that that's true, but they don't think there's any dirt or any charges that will be leveled against them. So they're free to go out and be as vocal as they want because it's not going to end up in a court of law against them. So that's what they just told me. So if you see someone who's quiet, who's hiding out, not really doing much, not making a lot of public appearances, they got an indictment coming to them. If they're out running their mouth, most likely they don't think they do. Doesn't mean they won't, but they don't think they do. So hopefully that makes sense. Hello, Cat. Will cannabis ever be legalized and prescribed mainstream by healthcare professionals? Yes, it will, but let me tell you how. We all know that the pharmaceutical company controls our healthcare. Let's just call it what it is. It is what it is. Okay? So and I think this has already happened, but what the guides, my spirit guides, have been saying for the last year has been that they will create a chemically similar version of cannabis that can be patented. So it'll be like a brand, right? Our brand of cannabis does this, this, and this. Oh no, well, our brand does this, this, and this. That way they can patent it. Once they can patent these things, they can make money on it. Then it's like all the gates fly open, right? Even if they could patent the plant, which they kind of can, right? They just need to be able to lock down their money. Now, once that happens, they're showing me, and I have a memory of this, but I don't have it readily handleable. But so back when we had horses and buggies, and then we had electric streetcars. I remember my dad saying something about electric streetcars were knocked out over having gasoline-powered vehicles. And that was basically a political hit job, right? The gasoline-powered vehicles had a bigger lobby or bigger support, and they knocked out these electric streetcars. So this is what I see happening, right? So in regards to cannabis, what I see happening is these versions of it are made, be they synthetic. And then once that gets going, that industry goes after the more holistic plants industry and tries to knock them out. That's what I see. Now, I still don't think I don't think it's going to happen, but it could happen. It's going to be, think about it. Pharmaceutical companies, think about how much money, think about how much power they have, right? Right. So they just showed me cannabis being grown on Indian reservations because they're sovereign nations. So it might be that this is something that happens, they already have, a lot of them already have casinos, right? Because they can do these things outside of the United States because they're a sovereign nation. So they just showed me if that happens, some of these cannabis operations, and the ones that grow the plants and have the real deal will be moved into reservations, and they may be grown hydroponically, because some of these reservations wouldn't, support that through their climate, but they may be grown in greenhouses or hydroponically. So anyway, that's what I see happening there. Will hemp ever, her second part of the question is, will hemp ever become a manufacturing stronghold competing with plastics and textiles? Maybe in 20 years. In Europe, yes. In Europe, yes. In other countries, yes. Here, I don't think so. Now, you say ever. I mean, maybe in 20 years, 50 years, maybe. Yeah. I mean, now you're going against the oil industry. Plastics is made from oil. I mean, big industries that have a lot of power and a lot of this, around our necks. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. Yes, Carla B says, I saw a headline that missiles were fired by Russia into space at satellites, creating a lot of space debris. Is the space station going to be safe? Should we be concerned? This was 2 days ago. The astronauts had to go into this kind of safety sphere that they could eject, I think, from the space station and be safe. Look, isn't this behavior by them the same behavior by China, the same behavior by the Trumpsters? Isn't it kind of like, screw everybody. I'm going to do whatever I want. Nobody can make me do anything different. I'm not going to play by the rules, right? It's a big F you to the rest of the world. This seems to be the energy we're swimming in, right? And I think it is going to change, but we're really, guys, the guides just said we're at a precipice, like a precipice, we're not in the most secure position, and we need to stand up to these bullies. And the only thing I see being done that we're going to stand up to them is these arrests. It's like the Democrats don't want to get their hands dirty. I don't really understand it. I don't really understand it. I probably should just do a whole video on that so I could ask the guides to tell me what in the world is going on in Democrats' heads that they can't stand up for their own values and stand up for other Democrats, their constituents, right? But the only thing that's going to stop this sort of bully behavior is if we start indicting and arresting these people who do bad things. So again, we need to have sanctions against Russia. We need to do something with China. These countries are acting like they are going to be King Kong and they're going to take over the whole world, both of them. And China is very powerful, no doubt. But, that's why I think Biden went with Australia and some other countries and has formed a new trade pact, right? Biden is trying to say, we have to stick together against these more bully, in some ways, bigger countries. China has such a bigger influence on us. We buy our parts. Everything comes from them. They own a lot of our agriculture. They own a lot of our debt, right? So I did a video a while back called Biden's New World Order. And people were like, that sounds like Hitler. Well, it's not. It's called getting people together, banding together, to protect each other, right? And that's exactly what he did. He went to other countries. He went to Australia. He went to different countries and said, let's make a pact. Let's make our countries stronger together. Because by ourselves, we can't stand up. We don't really have the leverage against countries like China. So I hope that makes sense. When Spirit is talking through me, I don't even know if I've answered the question anymore. Because I'm not even here. Shauna says, thank you for your question, dear. Will Democrats or Republicans take the House? the Senate in 2022. This is interesting because last night with Jen's World Tarot on my channel, on our show, up until just last night, she was saying 6 seats. And then last night she was like, nope, the energy has shifted, right? The energy has shifted. And yes, the energy has shifted. She's right. Some of these Republicans that were on the T train have now exited the T train. They're now trying to find some stable ground. I think suburban moms have exited the T train. I think that these rulings by Texas and other places and banning of all these books in schools, like Hidden Figures and The Handmaid's Tale, banning books in schools, I think suburban moms are like, now wait a minute. Now, I might be a Republican, but I'm not, a Neanderthal, right? I'm just a Republican. I'm not crazy. I don't want to go back to the Handmaid's Tale version of reality or whatever. So I think some of these suburban moms are waking up and going, oh, wait a minute. This is too much for me. We need to put the brakes on. And some of these Republicans are saying, we're getting polling back, that we're losing support. Let's shift what we're doing. Let's shift our focus. Let's shift our aim. Let's remake ourselves. Are they not the chameleons of the political world? And give them $50, they'll say whatever you want them to say, right? So here they are, reimagining themselves, remaking themselves in time for the midterms. Now, that is all true. I don't see it being as dark as some people do, because we're still going to indict these people. We're going to indict them. And that is going to be an indictment on the Republican Party. That's going to be an indictment on what the Republican Party, represents, believes in. Who is the Republican Party anymore? If we have all these people that have now been indicted, what does that mean? Do you want to be in a party that has, a world record, U.S. history record of indictments of people actively serving in your party? You might not. That might be distasteful for you. Secondly, we still have Trump telling people not to vote. So I don't think it's all bad. I really don't. I do see that maybe we don't have the edge we used to have. That is true. And we do need to get out and work. I personally am afraid we're losing the African American community. I feel like we're losing the minority community because nobody is doing anything for them. Nobody, right? And the bill that Biden just passed and the Democrats just passed could take 3 years to actually show up some sort of, experience. You experience that bill. It could take 3 years for those things to actually appear in your life. So that's not going to help us. What's going to help us is the Voting Rights Act that's coming through the process now. And again, my guides, that's one of those situations I talked about in the very beginning of this video that it has to pass. Because it has to be equal. We have to have equal footing. After the footing is equal, if humans choose violence and greed, then we get what we get. True, we will get the full results, the whatever it is that we choose we're going to get. But they need to make it level first. It's not level. So I think that the Voting Rights Act is going to pass, and then we're going to be able to vote. I have felt this in Texas whenever I moved in the past. As soon as I created a new moving, postal forwarding form, I clicked a box and my election paperwork got changed automatically. Who moves a lot, people? People that are of the lower socioeconomic, working class. Minorities move way more often than anybody else. So when I moved last time, I don't have my voting card. It didn't get transferred. I have to go through everything and re-register. So I'm going to tell you, a whole lot of people got knocked off the Texas registry. This happened last year. So they are attacking us. We have to pass this bill so that it can fix this voting problem, and then we'll have a chance. So to answer your question, these are the things affecting that, right? Indictments against Republicans. T, the former guy, saying don't vote because he's a kingmaker, and if you don't agree with him, he's not going to support you. And like I said, a lot of these Republicans are not supporting him right now. So you're going to see a rift. And you're going to see money poured in against those people. And not only money, you're going to see all the other things, the bullying that they do, threats and whatnot, right? Character assassination is what I just heard. So, they're not all that together. I mean, if they were lockstep like they usually are, and on message like they usually are, I would be real worried. But I feel like we have enough things coming that it could help us, even though they may have gained some energy on us. I think we're gonna gain energy on them in the future. So I also M. Turpel says, when will inflation go back down? I know. I told you guys 6 months ago inflation was going to be here, like for real, and people sort of didn't believe that. Well, here we are. Let me ask them. That's a complicated question. I need to go deeper into that because it's not that simple. It's actually, what were they saying? They were saying, I do see, on another note that's related, I do see the economy doing a roller coaster. I see it going down and then coming back up. The down is going to pull some G's, if you know what I mean. Your stomach is, down here, but your head is up here, and you know what I mean? I think we could really have an economic crash, but a recovery. I don't know why, and I don't want to call it a crash. I just want to call it a pretty big dip. I think it's a scare about something that happens, but it comes up. And so when it comes up, this is why this is important. When it comes back up again, I don't understand economics. I don't understand inflation. But when it comes back up, they're telling me that the wages and the jobs come up and the demands for services are still high, but the supply meets the demand. Okay, does that make sense? Does anybody understand inflation? The right now we don't have supply, we have demand, right? So everybody's charging more for things because we just don't have it, right? But what they're telling me is, and this is next year around spring, that everything starts coming online, and it is because of this big spending bill that he passed, that him and the Democrats passed. Look, who do you think all those trillions of dollars is going to go to? People with businesses, people with road crews, with construction crews. They're all going to get millions of dollars in contracts, and then they're going to hire people. They're going to hire Americans, secretaries, surveyors, architects, workers. It's going to be a huge economic boom. So we just need to let these things level out. The supply and the demand and all of those things need to equalize. I don't see it happening. I'm sorry to say, I don't see it happening. Not before January. I'm not even sure I see it happening in January, to be honest with you. I see things really taking off for us around April. So hopefully that makes sense. So this winter, a tip for you as well. We've talked about this before too, but I need the reminder as well. You're going to go to the grocery store. There's going to be turkeys if you want to have that for Thanksgiving. But there might only be 50 instead of 150. So you need to, I've said it before, you guys need to get what you need this weekend. Get it early, because there's just not the depth of supply. They don't have so much. They're going to run out early. That's what the whole thing I want to say. They're going to run out early of things. And the things may be weird. Like they have too many turkeys, but not enough this. Or too much cranberry sauce, but not enough turkeys, right? So it's going to be weird in general. So just be prepared, right? Same thing for any other holiday. Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever you celebrate. If you need a certain food, you might want to go ahead and buy it a little earlier. Why not prepare earlier and not be caught out this year? Because it's only going to make your stress level go up. We don't want that. Carol Bastian says, will Ghislaine, I don't know how you say her name, Ms. Maxwell's trial lend surprising information, and what is the outcome? That is such a good question. We touched on that too last night. I frankly am surprised that she's going to trial. Like, to me, the energy suggests that she would either have already been Epsteined or in the witness protection program. The fact that she's going on trial is really interesting, isn't it? And I'm just looking at it right now. Okay, it's a cover. It's a cover. Wow. Okay, they showed me a judge. And I'm like, why are they showing me a judge? And then they showed me, I mean, basically what you might say is like shenanigans or some kind of, it's a cover. She's going to go through this trial. They just said mock trial. Oh my God, our justice system. God, please help us. Okay, anyway, whatever happens is coordinated, choreographed. The word they're using is choreographed. It's not real. It's just meant to, it's actually covering up things. Isn't that crazy? It's like they're covering up things in broad daylight in front of everybody. The way the trial will be presented will actually exonerate some people like Prince, what is that dude's name? I want to say William, but I don't think it's William. Which prince was it that was implicated in this whole thing? It's going to exonerate certain people, like I actually see Bill Clinton. It's going to exonerate them because the court is going to point to other people. Scapegoats. She's being used. She agreed to do this. I mean, she didn't have a choice, really, truly. But this is part of the hard deal that she had to accept. And she is going to do time. She's actually happy to do time. She is so depressed and, despondent, like almost checked out, right? It has been, now I'm not protecting her. Please understand, I'm just reading the energy. I think she's a monster, but let me just read the energy. She's ready to have her life, prison would be normal. And it would be a step closer to her getting done with this, right? She has money. She has resources. When she gets out of prison, she's going to be fine. She's a scapegoat. Anyway, okay. That's interesting. I didn't know any of that until just now. Marie Henson says, will Congress use inherent contempt against Meadows? Will. It's not that easy. I mean, I wish I could tell you guys. I wish I could show you guys what they're showing me. It's like a chessboard, but there's not just one board. There's 20, and they're stacked on top of each other. There's layers of chess moves happening. So if I don't move on this board, I know there's moves taking place on this board and this board. But the public only sees this board, or maybe two boards. But there's 20 boards going on. You know, maybe the boards represent the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, right? The DOJ, right? All those are in play, they're telling me. So when you ask, will Congress use inherent contempt against Meadows? What I hear them saying is, we're going to use the best option that we have. We have lots of options to silence this person or to rebuke or to take out this person. And we are going to use the best resource that we have at our disposal to do so. So even though we're just seeing Congress, they're saying, maybe not. That's not really the best option for us, okay? Now that kind of thing makes us mad because we think that they're capitulating. We think Congress is capitulating and letting these people walk and letting these bullies go free. But really what's happening is there's a longer game here. And they're all in contact with each other. And they are choosing their battles. And we don't see that happening. So when I say that, I heard a yes and a no. So that means that it's still in flux. And like I said, they're going to use the best option they have available to them. But Meadows is going to pay a price. I'm hearing, I just heard the word suffer. That's very biblical, isn't it? But I just heard suffer. He's going to suffer. It might even be a civil. Don't forget that chessboard. That chessboard is in play too. There may be civil charges. There may be civil court cases that really could hurt these people way more than Congress. You know, all they care about is the almighty dollar. Well, let's take their dollars away, right? So there's other options for making these people pay for getting justice. See, I get wound up. Okay, now I got to reconnect with spirit. Following MHB says, following up on the question about the Supreme Court resignations, do you see it being a liberal or conservative resignation? I've been expecting Justice Brewer to retire soon to avoid another trails off after that. I see, and so does so many other people, see resignations of conservative judges. I'm not ruling out that one liberal judge steps down, but I do see retirement, resignations of a couple of different judges. And right now they're showing me Kennedy. No, not Kennedy. Oh my God. When I'm connected to spirit, they're showing me, so my clairvoyance is working. They're showing me a picture, but I can't, Kavanaugh. Thank you. I wasn't getting the other part, which is the name. They're showing me Kavanaugh. This is the thing, right? What is the astrology of this? But it feels like justice, the scales. It feels like justice needs to prevail here. This man did things that should have ruled him out of being a Supreme Court justice. Period. Around money. And if we don't stand up as citizens of America and say, this is not acceptable. We are really in for it. We're in for 10 years. It's like we're in for 10 years of just dark, right? Dark. So, and I don't see that. I don't see us being in for 10 years of dark. I see us in 5 years of extreme change, right? The healthcare system changing is not going to be pretty. That is not going to be pretty. It's going to be hard. Change is not pretty, right? It's just not. There's always people that are displaced. There's always people that are upset. There's always people that are fearful, right? All those things are going to be happening. So yes, I think Kavanaugh, big changes on the Supreme Court. They're coming. I think maybe in, I heard April and June. Bonnie Russell wants to know, will the T, former guy, ever be made to shut up, man? I don't know. He's more and more irrelevant. Right now, I particularly like him because he's wreaking havoc in the R party, and I'm happy for him to do that. He's not winning anything. He's not really hurting anybody else but them. He has health issues coming. I see him deflating, just deflating, becoming nothing. I just don't even think about him or worry about him. He's really just a shadow of himself. I know he commands a certain percentage of our country. You know, maybe it's 20%, God forbid, but that's 20%. The rest of us show up. It's not a problem. If the rest of us stay home or just don't get involved, or it's not our problem, it is a problem. So we need to all show up. The 80% of us need to show up. I'm sorry. Sherry wanted to know, will Biden forgive the rest of the student loans dragging down so many people? I don't think so, guys. I think what he's going to do, again, everything is about compromise, right? And Biden is the biggest compromiser I've ever met in my entire life. He's a deal maker. He's a deal broker. He wants people to be happy on both sides. And usually what that means is nobody's happy. But I see Biden going to some banks and saying, we want to have a public-private partnership. That's what the R's want, period. They want to privatize the Postal Service. They want to privatize healthcare. They want to privatize everything. Everything is a dollar profit margin to them. Everything. So if Biden said, I want to remake the student loans, and right now some of the interest rates are insane, right? 5% or something. And I'm going to give you an opportunity, Chase Bank, let's just say, to offer these student loans, but they're capped at 2%, 3%. So that's a win for people paying the student loans because they're going to pay significantly less interest rates. It's a win for the banks because they're going to get that money. So that's kind of what I see him doing, is trying to create a win-win for banks and students. I don't agree with that, but that's what I see him doing. Raslin Reed says, why is Michael Cohen and Kanye West hanging out? Well, we all know Kanye West, God bless his soul, has some mental issues, mental stability issues. I don't know what they're talking about. They're talking about grandiose, right? That ego-centric sort of personality disorder that Trump has, like a sociopathic, an ego something, narcissist, okay, a narcissist, right? Kanye West thinks he's a king. Michael Cohen, right, this makes sense. I'm telling you guys, other things keep you guys up at night. This is what keeps me up at night. I saw a whole premonition of the African American community being, this is in the future, being dissatisfied and being separated from the Democratic Party, really just being angry, upset, and also kind of protesting, right? And sort of getting out there and saying, no one's listening to us. No one's listening to what we need in our community. You promise us, but you never do it, right? That's what I see in the future. And I don't like that, because that we don't need any more splintering in the Democratic Party. But at the same time, the Democratic Party needs to pay attention to these other segments. They call it a big tent, right? And we are, but we have other factors like the AOC and the super liberals, and then the Hispanic, and then the African American community, right? The gay transgender community. All these people are in the big tent, but we're all different. We all need different things. And it's always hard to meet everybody's expectations, but you at least have to try, you know? I'm not saying that Biden hasn't tried, but I'm saying that Biden doesn't give lip service, right? He doesn't go into the communities. He's no Clinton. You know, he's no Clinton. He's no white dude that's trying to say, hey, I'm a white dude, but here I am in your community. What do you need? He needs to do more of that. So those communities are feeling left out. And I think Republicans have been polling. This is what I said a few minutes ago. They've been polling and polling and polling. They're numbers people. I think they're polling African Americans, and they're coming up with dissatisfaction. Who got us through the whole pandemic? Minorities. Latinos, Hispanic, African American were on the front lines. They are the ones that still had to work. that had to go to work every day. They were the essential Americans. Everybody else got to sit in their office, including me, and be safe. But not them. And they had losses in their community, and they're mad. They don't feel like anybody has their back. So I think Michael Cohen is trying to work with Kanye West, this is what they're telling me, to sort of win over that segment of African American community. I don't know that it's going to work because I don't think the African American community is particularly, they're not in lockstep with anybody, right? They're not. They're all everybody's different, right? So I don't think Kanye has the magic power to snap and get people to join or get behind one of Michael Cohen's people, even if it was an African American person. But I think that's why he's doing it. It's all about the political process and trying to convert people to the R's. I mean, the R's feel like if certain segments are up for grabs, why don't we grab them? Why don't we target them, right? It's sad that they're up for grabs. They shouldn't be up for grabs. For real. That we're not doing our jobs as Democrats if there's a segment in our community that doesn't feel like they're being represented. Sorry, I got on a soapbox for a minute. I'm just going to take a few more. MS Pioneer Girl says, though Bannon was indicted, will this actually cripple him or only make him a martyr? What kind of following does he have? And will his believers grow or will he fade in the background as he has been? Absolutely. The guides showed me this. I talked about this a few videos ago, that Bannon is like the destroyer, right? He just wants to destroy everything. He wants mayhem, anarchy. He wants anarchy because he wants to take down democracy. And how do you do that but create anarchy? So Bannon wants to be in handcuffs. And I saw this 2 days ago. My guides were saying it over and over again when they chant things to me and they show me pictures. And to the degree that I go on to Google and I'm like, did he get arrested today? You know what I mean? Like, it's so prominent in my energy. But my lead time with my spirit guides tends to be 3 months. So this is November, December, you're looking at, January, February, this is where I see all those people being in handcuffs is, right around March, April, February, March, April, maybe May. But yes, so to your question, yes, when he is in handcuffs, that's the trigger. That's the trigger. It's already decided. This has already been communicated to his troops. Allegedly and for entertainment purposes only, that when this picture happens, it sets off a chain of events. Now, those events, you can only imagine what they are, right? Violence, upheaval, attacks in our country, okay? So much like the guides have been talking about for a long time about the IRA in Ireland, how many times have I said that? Homegrown people that do bad things in America. I can't say certain words. So, for that reason, remember that Bannon was arrested not too long ago, and the only picture there is of him in handcuffs is a drawing of the court artist, the person that's allowed in the court to draw and sort of depict what is happening, and he's like this, showing them. But it's just it's like a chalk drawing. So it doesn't look very menacing, right? Because it's almost done in pastels. So I think Biden is aware, very, very aware. I think the authorities are very aware of this. And I think they're trying to avoid that. I think they're trying to avoid that picture. But he will. He wants to become a martyr. You're absolutely right, MS Pioneer Girl. You're absolutely right. Yvonne says, what's going on with Roger Stone? Why is he so quiet? That's what I just said 10 minutes ago. These people that are quiet, they know that target is on them. The target is on them. and they don't want to add any more charges or be in the public eye. They want to try to melt away. They've gone underground. It's not going to save them, but they're going underground. Danielle, the Spirit Scribe, says, will Adam Schiff ever become Attorney General? Could he become Attorney General of California? Is that such a thing? Because when I asked them, they said yes. But then when then they said no. So this is the complicating thing, right? You have to be very specific in the question you ask, because yes and no. So I think he could become the Attorney General or whatever the highest attorney is in California. Yes. Attorney General of the United States, I don't see it. Right now, I don't see it. But yes, in California, it feels good. The energy feels very good, very compatible for him to do that. Holy moly, they just said he might be trying to run for governor. Right, because see, once I put him in the energy of Attorney General, I feel good. Like I have this really good, like, ooh, it feels resonant, it feels compatible, it feels right. So then I tried to move on to the next question, and then they showed me governor, because that is a stepping stone to governor. He's trying to be governor. Ha! Imagine that. I'm okay with that. I don't live in California, but I like Adam Schiff. I think he's done a good job. I think he would make a good governor, maybe. Okay, Donna Newhouse says, what's up with Michael Flynn? A national religion? He is not well. He is not well. Michael Flynn is not well. Other people, I think Jen's World Tarot, other people, I don't remember who all they are. When I'm connected, I'm telling you, the filing cabinets that belong to Susan are over here. And the filing cabinets that belong to Spirit are over here. So I don't have access to those. But he does, I feel like there is something not right with my brain, with my head. I have something going on in my mental acuity is off. I mean, yes, I'm going to leave it at that. He is not well. I'm more worried about his brother. His brother is in charge of the Pacific Fleet, and that is wrong. That dude should not be in charge of the Pacific Fleet. What is that? You know, Michael Flynn is causing problems. He's agitating people. He's agitating the people who are already agitated. They're a minority. Those people are going to have to be sorted out. He is a threat, absolutely. But I'm also worried about his brother. I have to tell you that I don't see this mental thing taking him out anytime soon. I'm sorry to say that. I think he's going to be around for a year or more. Is he going to get arrested? So now I'm like, how do we take him out? You know what I mean? Like, now how do we deal with this dude? Michael Flynn, is he going to get arrested? Travesty. A travesty for who? A travesty for Michael Flynn or for us? It's a travesty. He's a general. It's a travesty. He's a travesty. He's a what are they saying? He's a disgrace. They're saying he's a disgrace. Well, yes, I get all that. I'm trying to ask you, is he going to get arrested? I don't see it. He's going to get roughed up. He's going to get roughed up by authorities. He's going to be warned. He may have some kind of consequences. He may end up being sued civilly, because they can trace back his involvement to some violence that affected somebody. Sorry, I'm going to move on. That was a rabbit hole. I could have gone down that for a minute. LJ Shannon is saying, how is Kamala doing? She's doing fine. She's stressed out. She's totally stressed out. It's not the VP. It's not a walk in the park, I hear her saying. This is not a walk in the park. Like she's showing me, what was that dude's name? The vice president who was, everybody made fun of him. A white dude. Of course, they're all white. Who's that dude? Everybody made fun of him. Brown hair, thin guy. He was thought of as being just not very smart. And he didn't do anything. Was he George H. Bush's vice president, maybe? Anyway, she's saying it's not as easy as even that Biden had it. Biden had a walk in the park compared to her. She says the pressure is immense. She says it's like we're at war, but nobody knows it. That's what I hear her energy saying. We are at war, but nobody knows it. She's showing me, I don't even know if I should say some of this stuff. Like an American JIHAD, maybe, something like that, right? She's stressing out. That's how she's doing. She's stressing out. But she's on the hook, people. I saw her being president. She is on the hook. She will be president. That's one of those things that they told me that's like not up for discussion. The very first time I saw her, the very, very first time was right after she got picked for VP. I saw her on TV or something. And it was the first time I've ever seen her because I'm not from California. I don't really know that much about her. And the first time I saw her, they said president. So she's going to be a president. She's going to be our president, and she's going to rule or preside, rule, because that's what it's going to be like. It's almost going to be like a ruling because it's going to be a dicey time in our future. But she's going to be fair. But she's going to have to rule with an iron fist. That's why they said rule. Because it is more like a ruling. She's going to have to get these different factions in line. And that means factions on the left, factions on the right. That is coming for us. Linda Walker says, will Manchin and Sinema be voted out in the next elections? And then I think I'm going to have to end this because we're at 1 hour and 7 minutes. Manchin and Sinema. Well, I think it's too early to tell, Linda. Because I think they must have gerrymandered Sinema's district again with this latest census. You understand? She was a Democrat. There already was a Democrat that already jumped to Republican. I forget who it is because he was a very conservative Democrat anyway, and his district just got gerrymandered to all Republican, so he just changed teams. I feel like she's just going to switch to Republican. That's depressing, honestly. Somebody's going to give her hell, they just said. Meaning other elected officials, other elected politicians in her state are going to give her a lot of grief. They're going to bird dog her. They're going to just try to make her life not pleasant. They're going to call her out all the time, in other words. Now, Manchin's a wily SOB. God dog it. You know what's going to happen? That's amazing. All right. You know what? All right. Fine. Good things have unintended consequences. Good things have unintended bad consequences. What's happened? It's going to happen is Manchin. God, I hate this. I hate it. Manchin is going to go with his hand out to Biden and say, we need some of that infrastructure money. Well, a lot of Republicans are going to do that, but Manchin is a Democrat. So he's going to go to Biden with his hand out and he's going to bring that cash back to West Virginia, and he's going to do something that's going to make his constituents love him. I can't tell you how upsetting that is. Okay. See why I don't do so many videos with politics? It's frustrating. And you're on a roller coaster, people. We're on a roller coaster. Why do we want to be on the roller coaster, right? The best advice that I can give you, if you can hear this, if you're still listening, if you're still watching this video, the absolute best advice I can give you is for us to be happy as humans, we have to feel empowered. We have to feel that we have agency over our own lives. What does that mean? We have to feel like we have control over some part of our own lives. So if you're on a fixed income and you don't have any control of your life and you're just basically at the mercy of the Republicans and the Democrats and the president and them giving you money to live on, that's a problem, right? That's where you start to feel like I don't have any agency. If you're on Medicaid or government assistance, you feel the same way, right? You feel like I am just a play toy that these people bat around and I don't have any agency. I don't have any control, right? The best thing to do is they may have control of your finances. They may have control of your living situation, but they don't have control of your happiness. They don't have control of your personal happiness, right? We all know people that can go through pretty tough, rough things and still keep a little bit of an upbeat personality or still see things on the positive side. What happens, guys, is when we see things on the positive side, when we keep our vibration high, good things happen to us. And when they do, we're able to see them and take advantage of them because good things are on a high vibration, right? And when we're on a low vibration, those good things can still happen to us, but we don't even see them. Because we're looking down, we're downtrodden, we're worried. We've convinced ourselves that nothing good is ever going to happen because our finances are fixed, our home situation is fixed. Nothing ever is good is ever going to happen to me. Ever, ever, ever. If that's your mentality, then that's what's going to happen to you. If you, from this day forward, decide that, you know what, I might have to be at the beck and call of the government for my health care or my living expenses, or whatever. But I'm going to get out of my head, and I'm going to go to the library and take out a book. I'm going to go to the library and volunteer to help kids to read. I'm going to go to the school and help volunteer for something. I'm going to go to the church. I'm going to go to my community. I'm going to pick up trash on my street. What you're doing is empowering yourself. You're taking back your power. Believe it or not, volunteering and doing things outside of your house is going to make you feel better about yourself. When that happens, all of a sudden you're picking up trash on the street and somebody rides by and says, you know what? I would like to just give you $100 because I see you doing this all the time and I just really appreciate it. I don't have time to do it, so here's $100. It happens. Don't tell me it doesn't happen. It does happen. If you're disabled and you can't get out of your house, then do other things, right? There's ways to do this. There's ways to raise your vibration, and when you do, good things can happen to you. But you have to be able to open your eyes enough to see them when they happen, right? So we're on this political roller coaster from hell, and our body is taking that beating. Our etheric, our energetic body is taking the beating because we're going down, then we go up, then we go down, then we go up, then we go down. Don't ride this roller coaster. Get off of it. Donate to the people you want to support. Get on their campaign. Make calls. Go to meetings. Put flyers out in your neighborhood. Do something that makes you feel like you've done something, because that will make you feel better about everything in your life. It'll literally boost you. It'll lift you up. Whereas hearing bad things like Manchin and Sinema not getting the justice that they deserve just makes us disgusted, and it makes us sad, and it makes us depressed. And those things aren't going to help any of us. So if you're in Manchins and Cinemas, look, freaking A, I'm in a terrible district. I just saw my U.S. representative post on Facebook this morning, and do you know what I said to myself as I was walking in the kitchen to get my coffee? I said, that man ruined my day. I swear, that's exactly the words that came out of my mouth. Every time I see his post, it ruins my day. I go in and I say something to him. I constantly bird dog him. I say substantive things. Like, how come you never come to my district? How come you're always going to the rich white people's districts? Do you not like other people? Right? I say substantive things. I call them out. I put out facts. I put out figures. I'm doing what I can. But even me, that guy got under my skin, just like just now, Manchin and Sinema got under my skin and caused me to have a bad day. So I'm now going to have to change my energetic vibration. I'm going to have to do something to raise it. Listen to music. Take my dog for a walk. Watch a funny thing. Watch a funny video. Send $10 to whoever's running against, send $10 to Beto. Send $10 to, whoever's running against Manchin. Send love, to them. Do something. So anyway, listen, if you've watched to 1 hour and 16 minutes, you deserve a medal. You deserve a medal. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys. I really do. I'm happy to talk about politics, but I'm also going to tell us that we all have to rise above it. Okay, we do. Because regardless of what these fools are doing in states that we don't even live in, we still have to take care of ourselves. Because when all this stuff gets fixed, when all these indictments come down, you and I are going to be the ones picking up the pieces. Okay? You and I, we still have to bird dog our, watch over our local elections. So we need to stay healthy. We need to stay sane, right? So with that, everybody have a great, whatever holiday is coming up for you. Have a wonderful one. Take care of yourselves. Much love to you. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys take care.